Sometimes you find yourself asking, when is a good time to take that next step? When should you make that call? When should you take those classes? When is the best time to make that dream into a reality? If you were to ask our next guest, he would tell you now, but you have to wait until after the break to hear from him. Stay tuned. Dan Niswander is one of our busiest producers. As the producer of The Now Man Show, Dan manages to get himself into all sorts of interesting conversations like the one we're going to have right now.
Yes.
Hello,
absolutely.
Dan. How are you?
Hello, Sean.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
So we're going to start with a little bit of history. I definitely want to talk about your experience specifically here at Arroyo, but first we got to let people know who you are. So start from the very beginning. Where were you born? Where are you from? What's your story?
Well, I was born in Ashland, Ohio.
That's a real place, right? You're not making that up?
That's a real place, okay. Yes. And I've always been in a music family.
Mm-hmm.
Music's been the thing I've done longer than anything else in my life. I have 2 albums professionally that I've done. I had a band when I was in Indiana, played a large Clear Channel festival, lots of live shows, played live on TV, and a lot of that stuff. So I was used to producing live shows, and even had a variety show at a nightclub for 4 years. And I could bring in characters, which, Now Man was one of my characters, right, technically. And I one night, actually, I had to stop the show and let Prince and New Power Generation play, so it was pretty cool.
I guess that's, if you got to let somebody play.
Yeah, right?
Might as well be Prince and the New Power Generation.
But I was also one of those kinds of people that just like, not just music. People like David Bowie inspired me to do anything I wanted to do, right? So I was also an actor. I was in a Saving Star Wars, which won an award at the London Sci-Fi Film Festival. I did a Funny or Die with Jason Alexander. Didn't get a credit for it, but I was in it. Okay. As Now Man, too, by the way.
Okay.
And
so let's talk about Now Man, because you've brought up characters before, and Now Man, it's called The Now Man Show.
Correct.
And what's the Now Man?
The Now Man is the superhero of the present moment.
Okay.
So I've been working on it for a while. Like, for instance, Now Man's on the cover of this album here. But I also experimented when YouTube came along. I thought, I can do something with this character, and it's just very basic stuff. And then I wrote this book because I wanted to develop the character more, and what goes on in the mind of a superhero, right? Okay. And
so I just kind of according to Now Man.
Yeah, and
Now Man.
I just wrote it, real spontaneous. Like I went day by day, like a journal, right? And just like, what am I feeling today? And so there's a lot of interesting little anecdotes and things, spontaneous moments that happen just like when you write music. And
this eventually morphs into the show that you produce here. We're going to show a clip of that in a second. Why don't you tell me a little bit about that transition from your wanderings around the world to landing here and finally finding your way here at Pasadena Media on the Arroyo channel?
Well, I'd been, like I say, I was back east when I was doing a lot of the professional music stuff, and I was ready to come back to California. I'd lived here before, in my 20s. I worked on film and stuff like that for a while, and and I wanted to find a way to motivate myself to get back into the creative process again, because there was an economic downturn, and I thought, well, maybe music's not the way to go. So
enter Now Man.
Enter Now Man. I said, Now Man, that's perfect. So I started doing some stuff on YouTube, and then got inspired to write this book. And then I did a radio show on internet radio for 1.5 years. And while that was going on, someone suggested to me, actually a former co-producer, why don't you try cable access television? And I thought, what a great idea. Now Man on television in a bigger way. Okay. So that's when I started developing the idea. And even with all the work that I'd already done, it still took a year before I really had what I wanted.
Well, let's take a look at the clip. Then I want to come back and talk to you a little bit more about some of that. We have a clip of The Now Man Show with Dan Now Man Niswander. Let's take a look.
I like to watch The Now Man Show because it is better than the best show on all of TV.
And that's what we've been suffering from, pretended patriotism. They use patriotism to lie us into a war in Iraq. They use patriotism to do drone attacks on children. They use patriotism to demonize Putin or anybody in the country who won't go snap to our fingers, you know. They have used the war on terror to gain a degree of power and observation over the American people that no dictator ever had.
Unconditional guaranteed income for everyone.
Oh, not a bad idea, actually.
Right.
I'm all for that. That's not, I've heard people talk about that, like philosophers like Alan Watts.
Yeah.
He said something interesting. He said, you know, money isn't wealth, it just measures wealth, right? So when the stock market crashes, we still have the same wealth in America. There's just an accounting problem. He said that's like showing, you know, if you show up at the bank and they go, we're out of money, we'll print more. He goes, it's just like showing up at a construction site and saying, hey, we were out of inches. What? What do you mean you're out of it? They just measure what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not what you're doing.
Baila conmigo este sol, a timbalera, esta es la comida del sol. A timbalera, baila conmigo este sol, a timbalera, esta es la comida del sol. Esta es la comida del sol, el horizonte se va a aclarar, y todo el mundo quiere bailar, como la comida del sol.
The wind will change, the water main will break, risks happen, and so you got to kind of always be trying to get more surplus, more profits, because the more you have, the safer you are to face any eventuality. It's built into the system that the capitalist's anxiety about keeping his or her hands on that surplus means you got to use the surplus to build your company to get more surplus and therefore become safer. And so the system has built into it not just the need to get as much surplus as possible, but to grow the enterprise, to build it out. Because if you don't, you risk collapse, disaster.
Hello, this is Niswander, and you're watching The Now Man Show. And today I'm here with David Bowie's piano man, Mike Garson. Hello, it's great to see you again.
Likewise.
This is fantastic. So a lot has happened, actually, since we were last in this room together. The David Bowie celebration concert I attended at the Wiltern.
Sting was kind of a wild highlight both nights. He was supposed to come just one night. He liked it so much he came back. And he sang, I think, Lazarus, right?
And he did Black Star.
Anyone who has the real jazz sensibility tends to like to create in the moment.
And you are obviously a medical doctor. What is the best way going forward to get a single payer in this country? Most countries have that, and we need it too.
Exactly. We need it, and we can afford it, in fact, because it doesn't cost any more than what we are paying right now. It simply ensures that our healthcare dollars are paying for healthcare, not for health profiteering. We need a healthcare system that is established for people, not for making profit. So again, this is all a matter of achieving critical mass. We need to come together as the many movements we are for health justice, for climate justice, for racial and economic and LGBT justice, and women's justice. When we get together with the courage of our convictions, we're unstoppable.
So that's a pretty eclectic blend of content that you have right there.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, just that it's quite a bit.
Yeah.
Tell me how you got to LA. You've transitioned your character into the show, and you say now, man, it's a superhero. But the content you're doing, this is not like typical superhero type stuff. You're dealing with some pretty heavy content. You got some pretty heavy hitters as far as guests are concerned and whatnot.
Yeah.
How does all of that work?
Well, it's like, again, it's a work in progress. Like, it's, part of living in the moment. I mean, to be honest, it's a way of life for me. I discovered that kind of by accident. It's like, the more I live in the moment, the freer I feel to just be spontaneous, right? Like I'm right now, and that's where the show.
Yeah, it's pretty spontaneous.
Yeah.
I'm feeling this.
I mean, it's like songwriting, my experience with songwriting is just a very spontaneous thing, and same thing with Now Man, which, by the way, that theme song, Fun to the Nth Degree, is basically Now Man's
with
theme
the person
song.
random screaming. What is it? Is he saying now? What is he saying right there?
Well, he says fun, love, and living.
Okay.
So the chorus is, fun to the nth degree, love to the nth degree, living to the nth degree.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and so that's the theme song of Now Man, and I said, why not use it as the theme song of a TV show too? So,
and you put together a pretty good team of people, not only outside of here, but here at Pasadena Media. You have a pretty strong core of people that you've come together with, and you guys all work on each other's shows. I want to talk about when you came here, how all of that happened, because some of them were here before you, some of them came in about the same time as you, and part of it is you work on other people's shows, but the word cabal has been used to describe the relationship you have with some of those producers. Just quickly, tell me a little bit about how that came to be.
Well, I went through the whole process of the training, did all the trainings, and have the certification, to be a director and use the technical equipment. And so I will work on other people's shows, they'll work on mine, and basically even with the worker cooperative group that I work with outside of here, the mindset is cooperation and relationship based. And that's always been really, really important to me. Even when I played in bands, did any kind of production in the studio, recording music, it's always been about relationships and been cooperating. So it's like if somebody, in this case here at Pasadena Media, we have the opportunity to use this wonderful studio and this equipment and learn a lot, but also develop relationships even with you guys. You know what I mean? Which is actually really special to me.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
My
that actually brings us up to a break. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back and talk to you a little bit more, because I do want to expand a little bit further just on your show and your experience here at Pasadena Media. So we're going to take a break. We'll be right back after these moments with more of The Now Man.
It's a big responsibility.
Oh, it's huge. I know, it's huge.
And the salary.
Oh my god, yes.
Right?
I mean, like, I was about to move in with my parents, and right before, so this saved me.
I really believe in you,
Thank you. It's nice to hear that from someone.
These are cool. Did you, what did you?
Okay, so we are still here. We're still talking to Dan Now Man Niswander with your own T-shirts and your
Niswander.
Nice. What did I say?
That's right. But it's
Niswander.
Just think nice and wander.
Niswander.
My Swiss grandfather.
Did I say
didn't
nice
speak
winder?
English.
I think I said nice.
Something like that. It's very easy to mispronounce.
I just said it in the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. You were being spontaneous.
So, getting back to working with other producers here, the cabal of people that you guys work with. You guys, it's good to see you guys working together. And what is you mentioned that you all kind of just came together, decided to work on each other's shows. How has that helped your show, and how do you think that helps other producers? Like, what are the things that you guys talk about in exchange in your own little
in our
group?
You want me to talk about our individual conversations?
Sure.
Are you
why
sure?
not?
No, I mean, we've really gotten close. I mean, like, we have a great deal of respect for each other, and we're loyal to each other, and we communicate with each other via the internet. If something comes up, we say, oh, no, I can't be there, and I get texts, and it's like, that's what it's about. And then you learn from each other, and as you get to know each other, actually, you can even give each other advice or suggestions, or, if there's guests that are interested in crossing over to another show, there's all sorts of things that can develop when you start from a relationship. So I can't emphasize that enough, that's very, very important. That's what makes something work successfully.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now to the nuts and bolts of your show. What does it take to put on an episode of The Now Man Show?
Oh, it's a lot of work. I mean, the pre-production starts, with contact, getting either somebody reaches out to me, or I get an idea and I reach out to them. Sometimes others would bring somebody to the show, and I'd say, yeah, that fits the format, or I'm feeling it, you know? It comes from a variety of different sources, and then I start the conversation, confirm that the person, the artist, the educator, the intellect, whatever is coming, intellectual, not intellect. And then once that's done, I send them a confirmation email that I've done that. I even send them a picture of the entrance of the studio, because the address is deceptive.
Yeah.
So there's no doubt, you know, of exactly where to come and what to expect.
You
once
are
you get
here.
You are here. Here's the green room. Here's when you go on, and you know, and that sort of thing. And then sometimes, I mean, it depends on the guest. Sometimes the guest doesn't want to know questions ahead of time, and other times they do. So I kind of wing it. I make my own scripts, but I generally go off of them. To me, it's kind of like a prop, you know. And I do use the teleprompter and have the time clock so that I can say, okay, we're running out of time here. So I make a mental note, and then I might need that teleprompter to show me where I'm at, so I can get all the points that I want to get to. But other than that, it's very spontaneous, and it's a whole process of you know, pre-production, post-production. I have people that work with me in the Worker Cooperative who do editing as well now. And they're based out of San Diego. They've one of them has been on the show frequently. They come up here and help, and whenever they can, and so there's that connecting to different networks to bring people together.
So how important do you think it is to have an organization like the Arroyo Channel, Pasadena Media, in order to do the kind of thing that you do?
I think it's extraordinarily important. I mean, I'm really, you know, I think it's a big concern if these things would go away. We got to have public access for television, for radio, and all kinds of media. And all these different forms can come together here at Pasadena Media, because you're creating an audio track that could be a podcast. You can use social media in here. We've done Skype interviews and used YouTube to go live. Haven't done Facebook yet, but there's a lot of different ways to bring all these technologies together and see what we can do. You learn so much, and you actually become marketable.
Okay.
And there's all sorts of, it's unlimited what this experience can bring to your life. So, you know, if you're interested in creating television, come on down.
All right. Well, I don't know what more can be said outside of that. I do want to thank you for coming here. Thank you for your time.
Inviting me. I appreciate it.
And looking forward to more from the Now Man. I know you get some pretty interesting guests in here, and then you yourself are not a bad host, Dan.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
You're not exactly the guy here, but yeah. This was good. It was a pleasure.
Likewise, always a pleasure.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Dan, Now Man Niswander, host of the Now Man Show. You can catch it on the Arroyo channel. Check for your listings. Look us up on the internet. Like, follow, subscribe, all that fun stuff.
Prime time Thursday nights, 8 p.m.
Prime time. All right. You're watching what's the name of the show again? Arroyo Profiles.
Hey, you.
Yeah, you. Getting that college education? What are you gonna do? Graduate and take some office job? Be like everybody else?
Or will you dare do something different?
Like, be a teacher. You could be my teacher. You got the skills.
The smarts?
Yes, you. You could be the teacher I never forget.
That'd be cool.
Does that corporate job even have recess? What are you gonna make of yourself?
What are you gonna make of me?
Do you want to change lives? Then come work with us. Options for Learning teachers guide, encourage, and support students' educational goals. All this while building confidence and critical thinking. Join our team of over 950 employees throughout the San Gabriel Valley. We have infant, toddler, preschool, and school-age teaching positions. Teach with us and help change lives. Find out how at optionsforlearning.org, where we don't just teach, we allow children to flourish.
We always like to have one of our most recent volunteers on the program, and today we have Damian Rodriguez. What did I just say? Rodriguez.
You said Rodriguez.
His name's Damian Rodriguez.
Because he's my G. What's up?
Okay, yeah, Rodriguez. Okay, I don't know.
Yeah, it's all good.
Damian Rodriguez. And you have been here for, I think you came, was it it was the end of last year or beginning of this year?
Yeah, about the end of October.
Oh, has it been that long?
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Good grief. Oh, yeah, because we took the whole December off.
the hiatus, yeah.
Okay, and why did you come here?
Because I saw Wayne's World, and I saw if they can have a TV show, then why can't I? That was the thinking.
Really? Yeah. Where did you see Wayne's World?
It's on Netflix right now.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
All right, and I also have the DVD too.
Oh, you're dedicated.
I'm a dedicated Wayne's World fan. Extreme close-up.
Okay. So is your show going to be something like that? It's because you've actually done some stuff outside of here.
Yeah.
So what's the goal?
So I created some music review videos called Deep Cuts Music Reviews. And they're videos that I make where I take new and rising artists and I give you a little bit of info about them, but then I compare them to more established artists so you can get a better picture about what they're about. And from that, I've been doing some interviews with people on Facebook. And that is what I'm going to try to bring to the Arroyo channel, bring those live musician interviews, but focusing on musicians from the LA area.
Okay. That sounds like an interesting show.
Thanks. I hope you watch it. Maji.
Okay. And you came in October, just out of the blue. Did you look it up or something? Like, how did you find us?
Yeah, well, I was looking up cable access channels in California and Los Angeles on Wikipedia, and you guys came up.
On Wikipedia?
On Wikipedia,
awesome.
There's a list, yeah.
All right. That's good to know. I'll have to forward people there, I think.
Yeah, direct them that way.
And you took the orientation in the producer class. I know you've taken the editing class because you had to suffer through 2 hours of me talking about media management.
Media management, yeah.
It's important. It's important.
It is. It's very important. Yeah.
So what skills did you have coming in that you were able to use, and then what do you think you've picked up since you've come here? Like, what's your experience in TV prior to coming here?
Well, in 2013, I started my own running blog called Runner's Edge, and my goal with Runner's Edge was to make new and interesting running content. But as you can tell, like 65 pounds later, I'm not that into running anymore. You can keep it. And so from Runner's Edge, I had experience producing my little videos, shooting them, editing them. I was kind of like a one-man machine all the way until like the last couple of Runner's Edge videos. And from that experience, I brought that over here, and then I learned more about lighting and audio. And those new skills carried over into the Deep Cuts videos, which so far have been pretty well received.
Okay, excellent. How long before you think you throw something on the Arroyo channel?
Maybe the next season. Okay. I think it starts around summertime.
And when you were going through the training classes, what was it like going through those? Because they can be intense. It really has a lot to do with who's in the class, what they bring to it. The instructors, sometimes even myself, are fairly knowledgeable. So what was your experience going through the training class?
I had a great experience. I think I've taken every training class so far, unless they have something new coming up. But
you might.
I know. Well, I hope. And let me know on Rooshare, because I'm going to be the first person to sign up.
All right.
I've taken...
You heard it here first.
Always first, right here on Arroyo Profiles. You can use that for the commercial.
Okay, we'll do it.
I know.
You're going to edit it.
Oh, well, we'll see. I'll try. But yeah, I love taking the training classes. I've never had a bad experience taking the training classes. You come and you work with like-minded people, and the people teaching the classes are very knowledgeable. And then I would say the best training at the Arroyo channel is actually working on the shows, because when you take the training classes, all this information gets thrown at you. But when you work on a show, and sometimes the crews are very large, sometimes they're very small, you get put in positions where you're like, you have to know this, because everyone can tell you the theory about three-point lighting or how microphones work, but if they can't hear you in the booth and your show looks terrible, then obviously you don't know what you're talking about. So I love working on the shows here.
Okay. Well, this show here is actually produced by trainees, and you've done this show 3, 4, 5 months running now or something like that?
Yeah, every time I've gotten the opportunity.
Okay. So what do you think about this show?
I love it. I mean, like you guys say, every show is a training show, and you learn things, sometimes good things, sometimes bad things that you want to avoid, but you never come in here and you just go through the motions. At least I haven't. You know, every experience that I've had here has taught me something that I use either on another show or in my own projects at home.
Okay. And looking forward to your show, your running music review.
Oh, no running. Don't put me in that. Don't you put that on me, Chevelle. Homie, I ain't running anywhere.
You never know. No, you got running shoes on right now.
No, these are styling shoes right here.
Okay.
Nike.
Okay.
What's up? Holla at your boy.
Okay. But what do you have a pretty good idea what you want to do?
Yeah.
Okay, so have you kind of nailed down the structure of it yet, or have you? Okay, so give us a hint. What you got going?
Would you like to hear about it?
I would love to hear about it.
Oh, well, thank you, Chevelle, and thank you for having me on this show.
You're welcome.
Well, when I start Deep Cuts Music Reviews here at the Arroyo channel, I'm going to go and I'm going to try to find local talent because right now when I do my Deep Cuts videos online, I'm dealing with people from Canada or Michigan or New York.
Right.
But I know that there's a hotbed of music here in Los Angeles, and I like to tap into that and bring the intimacy and the conversations that I create on the Facebook Live interview shows and bring it here with these wonderful lights and cameras and this production
Do some
crew.
live bands in here?
Well, live bands are tricky.
They are.
Because, you know, I've worked on a couple of shows where they have live bands, and I would like to and this is the good thing about the Arroyo channel, is I would like to work on more shows that have live bands so that when I do one, if I bring into a live band, I know what's the best way to go about doing it.
Right.
You know, because I've seen a lot of hiccups and things like that.
There's always something.
You know, and those things can all be worked out. And when it's your show, when it's your name on the line, you always want the best.
All right. Well, you heard it here, folks, people, from the mouth of Damian Rodriguez himself. I got it right that time. So any last words? Tell us your final thoughts on the Arroyo channel.
I think the Arroyo channel is a fantastic Pasadena institution. I encourage anybody who's interested in media or television production to come on out to the Arroyo channel. Really, the hardest part, like Dan said, is finding the door in the side of
Finding
the
the door.
street. Yeah, it's tricky finding the street
It is
because
pretty
you go
tricky.
over here to Los Robles and you see this massive office building, and you're like, oh, TV should be in the massive office building. So you go in there, and the security guard's watching basketball or something, and he's like, oh no, it's around the corner.
Yeah.
So you got to go
You're
around the
telling
corner.
all the secrets.
Hey,
Wow.
I speak it because it's true.
It is true. It is true. Well, it's definitely been a pleasure having you. Thanks, Damian, for being awesome. This is Damian.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Time to say goodbye for now. I hope you found this episode informative and entertaining. Arroyo Profiles is produced as part of our training program here at the Arroyo channel. The television equipment is being operated by volunteers and interns with a little coaching from our staff to make sure they get the most out of their training experience. If you are interested in learning how you can get involved, you can find Pasadena Media through all of the usual social media platforms. If you want to do more than like, follow, and subscribe, head over to our website and sign up for our free classes. As you've already heard, we offer training for anyone and everyone interested in learning about television production. So whether you're interested in pushing the buttons or pushing your point of view, it all starts here with an orientation and tour. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you on the Arroyo channel.